with me tonight.
The unions are a voluntary association. Workers join unions one by one on the basis that they would have read the Constitution. The Constitution will provide them certain powers and responsibilities, and that they will then control their unions as the members of this close association. Whenever in the past there was a need to go on a strike, the members of the association decides that this offer is acceptable, this offer we're taking back to the CCMA arbitration and all of that, and this is not acceptable. If the employers are not covering us, we're going on strike. That's how the close association functions. It is the business of the members of that association to ensure that every decision taken is a democratic decision, and that the views of the members have been thoroughly canvassed. If the union take a risk of shortcuts and not ensuring that workers' voice is heard in all of the decisions they take, the unions usually pay the price when the workers just don't support the strike action, or when there's defiance of the leadership. And unions have long learned that they can't do that. And that's why, by the way, most of the unions, as we speak, do have a ballot in their constitution, precisely because they want the workers to have the voice. What we are objecting to are two things, as I was trying to explain. Firstly, we don't want the employer through the government. The government is the employer of 1.3 million workers. And in association with the capitalist class, to give an instruction to members of that close association to amend their constitution.
Sure.
That's the first point.
I'm going to ask you to hold on to the. I'm going to ask you to hold on to the second point, because I want you to come in here, Natasha. Your reading of what has been now legislated, is it in fact, as Mr. Vavi suggesting, that government is forcing and telling unions how their constitutions should be set up?
Well, the way that I see it is that employees always pay the price in strikes, and especially when the strikes are long. They don't have salaries paid to them whilst they're on strike. I also think that when different unions are vying for membership within a company, that it's a better selling point. It's a better option. Look, majority does rule, but we can assure you that the majority is going to be the one that takes you, Mr. Employee, on a strike.
But does this amendment take away that independence that Zwelinzima is talking about? Because that's what he's ultimately pointing to. They're saying, well, we don't want to implement this because we should be allowed to operate as sovereign bodies, and we can't allow the state to tell us how our constitutions should be set up and how we should be running our processes, even if it is a secret ballot.
Look, the recorded and secret ballot is actually something that you need to keep for about 3 years. In order to ensure that there is this historical background to your collective bargaining. So I see it as a great tool for unions to use without taking away the employee's secret. You know, your vote is your secret, whether you voted for or against. That's important. And I don't particularly, as I said, I don't know the inner workings of the trade unions, and a trade union as big as Zwelinzima Vavi's trade union that he represents. But I see it as a tool that can be used, provided that it is correct. And when I say correct, there needs to be some sort of plan that needs to be put in place in terms of making the ballot a secret one. For instance, what about inviting an auditing firm to come in and assist you there? That might be expensive for you, Zwelinzima, but what about asking the CCMA to send a panel of commissioners or senior commissioners to make sure that this this was taken in a perspective that is deemed as fair.
Administratively, it sounds like it would be quite a lot when you look at the number of strikes that unions in this country embark on. So let's speak a little bit about that administrative process that unions would have to adjust.
Let me give you two examples, just to talk about this administrative nightmare that Natasha is speaking about. As we speak, the security workers, the guys who look after our buildings and schools and even police stations, are in deadlock with their employers. The employer is offering 1.1%, which translates in rands and cents to a 0.023 cents to a worker. The security workers are one of the most exploited workers, working sometimes 12 hours in a shift. Employees, the garage workers, amongst others. The employer is offering something like 0% to 5%. 0% is what is on the table now. As we speak, they earn 20 rands an hour. They need a strike as we speak.
Administrative nightmare that
Yes,
would
absolutely not,
Okay.
Cathy, but I hear you. I hear you now, and I understand what you mean by the administrative nightmare. But then is your fight to the Constitutional Court.
Protesters have done exactly the same way that the French yellow vests have done to force government to
It will require
back
some
off.
consensus and unity
We
from
will
unions.
not allow
and
the government and the employers to combine to destroy the unions and to destroy the workers. Only power they have in determination on the part of the workers. This is the last fight they must
You
fight.
just need one judge Yes,
already matured in NEDLEC. We have a complete protection that protects our right to strike as we speak. We're going to use that same protection as in line with Section 77. We are going to the streets. We are going to the courts. We are not going to place all of our eggs in one basket. We're going to take the fight in every possible way.
Do you think you would get support from the unions that were within NEDLAC that agreed to this legislation as part of that minimum wage agreement? So when you talk about mobilizing the workers of this country, I would imagine you would want to include workers across the board. So that means that there needs to be